here's this: God is in the business of using imperfect families for good, which should be a rejoice for every single one of us, because we just talked about how we are all imperfect and we all come from an imperfect family. And yet God still, in the midst of the imperfection, still wants to use families for good. In fact, if we go back to the very beginning of our Bibles, which, by the way, if you have your Bible, go ahead and open up to the book of Genesis. That's where we're going to spend our time, and we're going to continue to work through a particular family. But to give you a little bit of context of God's relationship with humanity, the first 11 chapters of your Bible, Genesis 1 through 11, really has a lot to do with God's generic interaction with humanity. If we could go back, and there's some interactions that he has with some people, but there's nothing really in depth. There's not really anything that's noticeable. I mean, he talks to Adam and Eve, and he talks to Noah, and he breaks the nations apart, and he brings the flood, and there's creation and fall and all of those things, but things really get personal. And we see a different side of God when we open up to Genesis chapter 12, which is where we're going to start our time today. We actually see that God desires a personal relationship with a man named Abraham. He desires a very personal relationship. God shifts from addressing humanity as a whole to working through a particular person and people for the sake of all humanity. Meaning the things that I want to do through your family, are the things that I want to do through all people. Things that we get to experience today. And Abraham's family is arguably the most significant family in the entire Bible, not because they were perfect, but precisely because they were flawed. Precisely because they were imperfect. And God chose to begin his redemptive covenant with a man whose story includes exactly what family systems theory talks about, but also includes things like favoritism, jealousy, deception, and even abandonment. And I bet if we got honest, some of those might hit a little deeper on a day like today. And I recognize in a room this size and people watching online, there are a lot of us in here that had incredible and still have incredible dads, that we have incredible father figures in our lives. But I know for some, this is a day that we don't really think about. For you, maybe there's nothing to celebrate on a day like today. But I want you to know that God can, he has, he can, and he will continue to work through imperfect families for good. God still worked through Abraham and his family. And what this does is it offers us a warning, but it also offers us great hope. Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 4 is where we're going to start our time today.